we are going to practice subtracting mixed numbers with some renaming. Let's go ahead and do our very first one. 11 1/9 minus 3 2/3. Go ahead and work it out. So for this one, you should have figured out that your common denominator is 9. Anytime that the larger denominator is a multiple of the smaller denominator, you know that's going to be your least common multiple and your common denominator. So let's go ahead and make those common denominators equivalent fractions. Bring down the 1/9 minus 3. I multiplied that 3 times 3 to get me to 9, so I'm going to multiply my 2 times 3 as well. 11 1/9 minus 3 6/9. You can't do 1 minus 6, so we're going to have to borrow from the 11. We're going to borrow 1 from the 11, make it a 10. We're going to say that 1 equals 9/9 and add it to our 1/9. That's going to get us 10 10/9 minus 3 6/9. Remember, I added 9/9 because 9 is our denominator, and we want the same number to be on the numerator and the denominator, so it equals 1. So let's go ahead and subtract. Subtract fractions first. 10 minus 6 is 4/9. 10 minus 3 is 7. Cannot simplify that, so your answer is 7 4/9. Hope you got that one right. Let's do another one. We have 6 minus 3.5. We haven't done one of these before, so I'm curious what you're going to figure out. Go ahead and try it. So for this one, you should have gone ahead. Notice you can't say 0 minus 1/2. So you need to borrow and make a fraction out of that 6. So we're going to borrow 1 whole from that 6. It's going to turn into a 5. The 1 whole that we're borrowing needs to be 2 halves, 2/2, because 2 is the denominator over here. So instead of changing it to a larger number, let's just leave it as 2 halves, minus 3 1/2. So again, what I did there is I borrowed from that 6, pulled out a 1. 5 2 halves is 6 because it's 5 plus 2/2, which equals 1. So 5 2 halves minus 3 1/2. 2 minus 1 is 1. 5 minus 3 is 2. My answer is 2.5. I hope you got the same answer. Look back over my work to make sure you understand what I did. And if you still don't, ask your teacher, because it can be a little complicated when you don't have another fraction. Let's do another one. 4 3/8 minus 3 1/2. Go ahead and work it out. For this one, you should have noticed that 8 is a multiple of 2. So our common denominator is going to be 8. We go ahead and bring down that 4 3/8 minus 3. 2 times 4 is 8. So 1 times 4 is 4. 4 3/8 minus 3 4/8. We can't say 3 minus 4. So we need to go ahead and borrow from that 4, make it a 3. We borrowed 1, which equals 8/8. And we're going to add that to our 3. 9, 10, 11. We've got 3 11/8. Make sure you notice what happened there. I borrowed 1. Here's my 1. Let's go ahead and make it pink. Here's my 1 that I borrowed from the 4, so it turned into a 3. That 1 equals 8/8. And then I added that 8/8 to my 3/8 and got 11/8. Minus 3 4/8. 10, 9, 8, 7. 11 minus 4 gets me 7/8. 3 minus 3 is 0. My answer is 7/8. Let's go ahead and look at another one. I hope you're getting these correct. 9 1/6 minus 3 5/8. So you're going to have to borrow for this one. Go try it out. All right, for this one, since it's not as obvious, we're going to go ahead and make our T-chart. 6, 12, 6 times 3 is 18, 24, 8, 16, 24. 24 is going to be our least common multiple to make our equivalent fractions. 9 and something over 24. 6 times 4 got me 24. 1 times 4 will get me 4. Minus 3 and something over 20. Ooh, that says 12. Something over 24. 8 times 3 got me 24, so 5 times 3 gets me 15. Remember, whatever you multiply the denominator by, you have to multiply the numerator by it. I can't do 4 minus 15. Wish I could. I can't. So we're going to have to borrow from the 9, make it an 8. We borrowed a 1. That 1 is going to equal 24 over 24. Remember, I picked 24 over 24. because that's what my denominator is. And if I pick like 8 over 8, then I'd have to make an equivalent fraction again. It would be a mess. We're not doing that. So we're going to go ahead and add that in here. That gets me 8 and 28 24ths. Minus 3 and 15 24ths. That would get me 13 24ths. Had to do some math in my head there. My goodness. 8 minus 3 is 5. 5 and 13 24ths is your correct answer. Let's do another one. Running out of room here. We've got 1 and 1/5 minus 1/2. Go ahead and work it out. For this one, your common denominator is going to be 10. So let's go ahead and work it out. 1 and something over 10. I multiplied that 5 times 2 to get me to 10. So multiply my 1 times 2 as well. 1 and 2/10 minus 2 times 5 is 10. 1 times 5 is 5. 5/10. We can't say 2 minus 5, so we're going to borrow from the 1. It becomes a 0. We're going to add 10/10 to our 2. Remember, that's because we borrowed 1, and 10/10 equals 1. So I'm going to end up with 12/10 minus 5/10. Notice that the whole number is gone. We took it. We gave it to the 10/10. We gave it to the 2/10. It's gone. I could bring down the 0, but I think that gets confusing because my handwriting is a little messy because I'm using not a real pen. Anyway, 12 minus 5, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. 7/10. Hope that's what you got. Ooh, we're really running out of room. There we go. 13 and 1/6 minus 3 and 4/5. Go work it out. For this one, let's make a T-chart. Although I think it's going to be a pretty big number, but I could be wrong. 6, 12, 18. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 5 is 30. Figured it was going to be 35, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 30 is my least common multiple. 13 and something over 30. I had to multiply my 6 times 5 to get me to 30, so multiply my 1 times 5 as well. 13 and 5/30 minus 3. 5 times 6 got me 30. 4 times 6 gets me 24. Can't say 5 minus 24, so we're going to have to borrow. 12. Remember, pull that 1 out. That's 30 30ths. And we're going to add it to our 5/30ths. So I'm going to have 12 and 35 30ths minus 3 and 24 30ths. So 35 minus 24 is 11 30ths. 12 minus 3 is 9. Yes, that's all math. 9 and 11 30ths. I hope that's what you got. It shouldn't have been a more complicated problem, but it seems a little bit more complicated when your denominator gets bigger. But in reality, it really wasn't. Let's do another one. Just pretend you can't see that. 12 and 2/5 minus 5 and 3/4. Go work it out. For this one, our least common multiple is going to be 20. I multiply my 5 and my 4 together to get that. I hope that's what you got as well. So we've got 12. And to get 20, I multiplied my 5 times 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 12 and 8/20 minus 5. 4 times 5 is 20. 3 times 5 is 15. Can't say 8 minus 15, so we're going to have to borrow. 12 minus 1 is 11. Remember, I'm going to pull out 1, which equals 20 over 20. I'm picking 20 because that's my denominator. And we're going to add it to the 8. So I've got 28 20ths minus 5 and 15 20ths. Now we're going to subtract. 28 minus 15 is 13 20ths. 11 minus 5 is 6. 6 and 13 20ths. We've got one more before we get to our word problem. Got to make it fit. There we go. 7 and 3/8 minus 2 and 7/9. Go work it out. For this one, I am going to make a T-chart just to see, because I really don't want to have to multiply 8 times 9 and make that my common denominator. Ugh. So I've got 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 6. 6 times 8 is 48. 8 times 7 is 56. 8 times 8 is 64. 8 times 9, 72. 9, 18, 27. We're trying my math skills here, I'm telling you. 36, 45, 54, and then you got 63. Man, it is going to be 72. That's a big common denominator. All right, let's do it. 7 and something over 72. 8 times 9 is 72. 3 times 9 is 27 minus 9 times 8 is 72. 7 times 8 is 56. Can't say 27 minus 56. We're going to have to borrow. All right, we're going to borrow from the 7, make it a 6. We're going to pull out 72 70-seconds and add it to our 27. And I am going to just go ahead and add this up real quick because that was not going to happen in my head. We have 99 70-seconds, okay, minus 2 and 56 70-seconds. Wow, that's going to get me 43 over 70. That's a 4. Over 72. 4 and 43 over 72. Again, it wasn't a hard problem, but when your numbers get big, your brain like freezes for a second, like mine did right there. But yeah, 4 and 43 over 72. I hope that's what you got. If you didn't, make sure you're double checking your work. Make sure it matches mine as long as I did my multiplication correctly. But I'm like 98% sure I did, so we should be good. We all make mistakes. It happens. Word problem! Go try it out. 3 commercials are played in a row between songs on the radio. The 3 commercials fill exactly 3 minutes of time. So I'm going to say equals 3. The first commercial uses 1 and 1/6, and the second uses 3/5. So we have to find what x equals. Okay, so my first step, I'm going to add 1/6 and 3/5 together to make it easier on myself. So let's go ahead and say 1 and 1/6 plus 3/5. My common denominator, I really don't want it to be 30, but it is. All right. In order to get to 30, I multiplied 6 times 5. So I'm going to multiply the 1 times 5 as well. Plus 5 times 6 is 30. 6 times 3 is 18. So 1 and 5/30 plus 18/30. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So I've got 1 and 23/30 plus x equals 3. All right, so what we got to do here is we have to figure out what x is going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 3 minus 1 and 23/30. I'm doing that because I'm trying to figure out what x is, so I need to get x alone. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract. The total time is 3. What we know we have is 1 and 23 over 30. So we're going to subtract 3 minus 1 and 23 over 30 to find x. All right, so we can't say nothing minus 23 because there has to be a fraction there. So I know I need to borrow from the 3, make it a 2, and 30/30. This is a challenge problem. I hope you got it right, but it's definitely a challenge. Minus 1 and 23 over 30. We don't have to borrow again. That's nice. 30 minus 23 is 7. 2 minus 1 is 1. So this tells us that 1 and 1/6 plus 3/5 plus 1 and 7/30 is going to equal 3. I kind of want to double check and make sure we did it right. So we know that 1 and 1/6 is 1 and 5/30 plus we know that 3/5 is 18/30 plus 1 and 7/30 should equal 3. Let's check. All right, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 plus 7 is 30. So we've got 30/30. 1 and 1 is 2. Look at that. 30/30 equals 1. So 2 plus 1 equals 3rd. So your answer was 1 7/30. I hope you got that one right. If you did, please pat yourself on the back or high five the camera, even though I can't see you, because that was definitely a challenge problem. If you didn't get it right, look and see what we did. Make sure you understand it, but don't beat yourself up because, man, that was a challenge problem. Hope you understood everything, and make sure to review any videos that you need to.